It's 5 o'clock somewhere. What do you want the media to do?
Big sauce.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You tuned into the Texas Tailgate Talk Show, Texas Happy Hour edition. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter. Make sure you follow me on the Tick and the Talk. What's up, TikTok family? At Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. Make sure follow me on Instagram, Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Look. You know we do everything for the gram. And make sure you go to www.bigsargemedia.com. Read all my articles. I have an article that's going to be coming out later on today. And by today, I mean Wednesday. It's titled The Curious Case of Joe Mixon. The Curious Case of Joe Mixon. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So listen. All right. Let's get through some house maintenance stuff first. All right. So to my family, Texas Tailgate, I want to call y'all Texas Tailgaters, but I feel like that name is already taken. So we got to come up with a new name, right? We got to come up with a new name. We can't just say Texas Tailgaters. We got to come up with a name. Y'all help me find a name, right? So we're going to come up with something new. Okay, a couple of quick things. One, I'm doing better. I don't know if you all could tell that or not. I'm doing a whole lot better. Saturday, when I was in Detroit, before the Texans played their final preseason game against the Detroit Lions, my back started hurting up. So for those of y'all who don't know, I got medically retired out of the military because of mental health issues for one, but then physical ailments. And one of my physical ailments is my back. My back is really messed up. So I got my L4 and my L5 is messed up and it's touching bone on bone. And so sometimes my sciatic nerve will flare up. And when it flares up like that, it goes all the way, like it takes me completely down. So for the last, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I went to the doctor and then I got some pain medication and my doctor fixed me all up. And so I feel a whole lot better. I was able to go to the gym this morning and get a light workout in. I got a very light workout in. I got a chance to, I got a light workout in. I got a chance to do a little walking, something that I couldn't do. Listen, y'all, let me tell y'all something. It was so bad that my wife, right? My wife had to help me get up off the couch. I couldn't even get my own self off the couch. My wife had to help me get off the couch. And so I feel a whole lot better. So that's amazing. I want to ask that you send a prayer up for my family. And I'm talking about myself, my brother, and my younger brother, my niece and my nephew, and then everybody that family and friends that were touched by the life of my middle brother. So I don't know how many of you all know this about me or not, but so from the 27th through September the 5th, that gap right there, that stretch of time is very tough for me. My brother passed away when he was 17 on August 27th. My mother, who passed away on my brother's birthday, who passed away when he was 17. My mother's birthday is September 3rd. And then I lost my first wife September 5th. So from August 27th, from August 27th through September the 5th, that's always has been a tough stretch for me since 2018. Yeah, because my brother passed away in 92. My late wife Jamila passed away in 2017, and my mom passed away in 2018. So that's a tough stretch. So I just ask that you send up a prayer for my family, my friends, my loved ones who was touched by my brother who passed away when he was 17. He passed away his senior year of high school. He was going into his senior year of high school, and he passed away at 17. So it's always you know, days like this. The good thing about it though is that I've been able to I've been able through prayer. I'm gonna be honest with you, it ain't just me, but through prayer, I've been able to, get through. I've been able to get through. And so one of the things that I want to make sure is that I've told you all on many occasions, and for my TikTok family, you all may not have heard this before. We're going to start the show here in just a second. Some of you all haven't heard this before, but like this is my therapy. Talking to you all is my therapy, which is why I do these shows live. This is why I do these shows live, because this is a therapy to me. Now, once the regular season starts, there's going to be some shows that are just going to be recorded for the podcast. But one of the reasons why I took a break on the podcast is because I wanted to give you all more of live action. So once again, Reverend Brooks, what's going on? I hurt my back on Saturday, so that has kept me out, and now I'm about to go through this stretch. But hey, I'm here. I'm here. Y'all know I couldn't miss out on this, right? So, and the good thing for you all is you're gonna get two shows on Wednesday. Wednesday, you got two shows coming up. Because this first show, I'm only gonna talk about one roster spot. Well, two. I'm gonna talk about two Texans players. I'm not gonna talk about the 53-man roster. I'm not gonna talk about the practice squad. That's going to be on the second show that I give you all. That's the second show. You're getting two shows, so you might as well get. Hey, look, I don't know what plans y'all got, but y'all need to get ready, especially since 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I think it's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Aces play. So y'all know when the Aces play, I get an opportunity to get out and do my thing, because my wife is going to be occupied, especially because, hey, look, I don't know how many of you all watch the WNBA. I do. I'm a fan. I like watching the WNBA. The Aces, that's our team. My wife is a diehard Aces fan. They've won 11 in a row. Like, they balling. They just clinched the playoff spot the other night. So when the Ace is on, I get to pretty much do whatever I want as long as I don't bother her. So when I come back, y'all, it's gonna be us. Then we'll have an opportunity to talk about the 53-man roster. Then we'll talk about the practice squad players. Then we'll talk about how Graham Mertz made the team, and then Harrison Bryant got put on the practice squad. That's a whole nother story for another time. We're also going to talk about where Sarge was right. Jamal Hill made the active roster. Dylan Horton made the active roster. I told y'all those are two guys that you're going to have to look out for. Let me fix this thing. There we go. All right, because I don't like the way my hat is. You know what? Y'all give me a second. This is going to be Hatgate. Y'all give me. I gotta fix it to whereas my hat don't block. I like that. That's why I don't put the Texas Tailgate logo right here anymore, because I got it right back there. So, like I said, we're gonna talk about that pretty soon, about the 53-man roster and the practice squad leading us up to the regular season, the week 1 matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. I got an article coming out here pretty soon that I want y'all to read. I think y'all gonna really like it. It's gonna be really interesting. Hold on, I'm writing something down. All right. Now y'all see I got this on, right? So this is an apron, right? This one of them cooking aprons. This is what you use when you're grilling, right? When you're grilling, I got this Texans apron on. This is what you use when you grill. This was a gift to me from owner and CEO Cal McNair. When we did the cooking with Cal, when we made the burgers and the hot dogs at the last open practice for the players. So anytime you see me with this on, anytime you see me with this apron on, I mean I'm about to cook. I'm about to cook. Now, I'm gonna cook in just a second. But let's go ahead and get this show started. And for those of you all in the comments, you already know I will be right back to you. I'm coming back. We're gonna talk. I see everybody that's in the chat. Y'all know. Keep talking in that chat, talks amongst each other, keep putting whatever it is, because you know I'm gonna come back to that. And I will probably come to it after we get into our subjects. So once again, you listen to Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. For those of you all who are new here, I am your host, Big Sarge. Let's jump right into this thing. So we all remember, right? We all remember week 16 in Kansas City. We watched Tank Dell go down with a gruesome injury. For those of y'all who are not familiar with Tank Dell, he's a wide receiver for the Houston Texans. We watched as Tank Dell went down with a gruesome injury. I mean, it was horrific. Like that injury was so bad, y'all. That injury was so bad. The state Arrowhead Stadium was quiet. And in the press box, I could hear Tank Dell screaming. It was so bad, I could hear Tank Dell from the field in the end zone screaming, and I'm at the top in the press box, and I could hear him. And so that side note, and you know what was impressive? Tank held on to the ball. Tank caught the pass. They scored the touchdown. But Tank Dell got hurt. So now Tank Dell goes through that horrific injury, and it was reported, right? Reported, hey, with that injury, Tank Dell's going to miss the entire season. Tank Dell will miss the entire season. I said, okay, I can see that. The way that the way that I heard him screaming in excruciating pain, the way that I seen him take him off the field, I said, I could see Tank being out for an entire year. But then, so a couple of things happened, right? So a couple of things happened that I was surprised by at first, but then I realized, okay, I know Tank. I know the type of person Tank is. So Tank is tough, y'all. Tank is tough. You seen him come back from the injury that he sustained in his rookie season. And then he went down in week 16. And I'm here to tell you, look, y'all can say what y'all want to say. It don't matter to me. And if you got anything that you need to say, make sure you go to Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end on the app formerly known as Twitter, and drop all your comments. For my TikTok family, drop the comments in my inbox. I'll say it since nobody else will. I will. Tank Dell doesn't get hurt year one, his rookie year. The Texans might have beaten the Baltimore Ravens. Now you're saying, Sarge, what are you drinking? I ain't drinking nothing but a Celsius. That's it. How else the hell y'all think y'all gonna get two shows? Y'all think y'all gonna get two shows with me just drinking water? And if I get some liquor, I damn sure ain't doing two shows. So A lot of you all don't remember that score was tied 10-10 at the half. That score was 10-10 at the half. And the only thing I felt like the Houston Texans were missing was another wide receiver opposite of Nico Collins. All I'm saying is the game probably would have been a little bit more competitive, and the Houston Texans, they may have gotten the Baltimore Ravens. Now, of course, in the second half, the Baltimore Ravens became the Baltimore Ravens, and who they were. Fast forward year 2. Second time playing Kansas City in the divisional round of the playoffs. They have Tank Dell. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, listen, I know y'all saying Sarge is crazy as hell if he's thinking that they would have beat the Baltimore Ravens in Tank's rookie year. Okay, you say what you want to say, it's my opinion. I just feel like they would have been more competitive. I did say they would have beaten the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know. Let me walk that back just a little bit. I don't know if they would have beaten them. They would have competed a little bit better in that second half. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They got Tank. They beat the Kansas. Matter of fact, if they had Tank, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs in week 16. Because remember now, when Tank caught that pass, that made the score 17-16. After the break, after Tank, what I mean by break, after they had to take Tank off the field, Kaimi Fairbairn came back and he missed the extra point. Or that game would have been tied 17-17. So, if Tank's on the opposite side of Nico this past season in the divisional round against the Kansas City Chiefs, they beat the Chiefs. Beat them. They beat the Chiefs. So hold on for a second. Texas fan in rehab, what's going on, man? How you doing, bro? I follow all your stuff, man. I'm a big supporter of what you do. So Tank goes down. I know Tank. When I say I know Tank, I know Tank. Talk to Tank on the record, off the record. Tank and I have had some really good conversations. So then I started seeing a little bit here, a little bit there. Social media, Tank just saying what he's saying. I was like, okay, that's cool. I know you're trying to stay inspirational, Tank. I got that. I know that your faith is you're really strong in your faith. But I need to see you, though. I need to see you. And so I started seeing Tank at some Rockets games. I started seeing Tank at some U of H games. Now, I wasn't at the U of H games. I'm just saying I'm seeing clips. And I'm seeing him go from a significant limp. And that limp just slowly but surely just started to go away. And I'm saying to myself, no possible way. There's no possible way. There's no possible way. I see Tank, and I see Tank, and I see Tank. And then I don't see Tank for a while. And then training camp starts. And I think it was the first open practice, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on for a second, y'all. Debo. What's up, Chappelle? Hey, bro. Hey, you almost to 1 million followers, bro, on TikTok. Hey, look, dad_Gene_Gray_Honey Badger. Make sure y'all go and follow him on TikTok. He is amazing. He my battle buddy. We were in the army together, and I knew it was him because we used to make this joke. Y'all remember that movie Money Talks? And when Charlie Sheen and Chris Tucker was together, and Charlie Sheen was like, it's like a G-Dog on a fly tip, cooling at the crib, flossing with the posse. What the fuck does that mean? And so I said that when we were in school at WLC, and I said it's like a G-Dog on a fly tip. And then Chappelle was like, cooling at the crib, flossing with the posse. What the? And we've been friends ever since. That was 2000. Dang, bro, we've been friends for 14 years. Oh my God. I digress. So, seeing Tank. So I see Tank at the beginning of the training camp. And I said, ooh. Tank ain't limping. Tank is walking normal. I have not seen Tank run not one day yet. Haven't seen Tank run not one time. Then I see him, and I keep seeing him. Then I'm seeing him walking from field to field, and I'm saying to myself, okay. I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but there's no possible way Tank comes back. Not after that horrific injury, not what we watch, what we seen. There's no possible way Tank comes back. And then the Texans do this thing, right? When they set their 53-man roster, they put Tank on the physically unable to perform list. Not on the injured reserve list where they put Irv Smith Sr. and I forgot the other player's name. They put two players on the injured reserve, meaning that they're out for the season. They're going to be out for the entire season. But Tank is put on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list. That means that he has to miss at least the first 4 games, right? Now, they can keep him on this list. They can keep Tank on this list. But the thoughts, views, and opinions of the Texans Happy Hour, Texans Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel live are of Big Sarges and Big Sarges alone. I don't know what that does to you all. I'm not trying to get your hopes up. I'm not trying to tell you that it's going to happen. I'm not telling you I have any inside information. All I'm saying is, if you putting Tank on the physically unable to perform list, somebody told me when I brought this point up to one of my colleagues, they said, man, they probably just doing that more for Tank's mental, for his mentals, for his psyche. And I said, do you know Tank Dell? You know Nathaniel Dell? Like, you know Tank? You think they're doing this for his psyche, for his mentals? They could put Tank on the physically unable to perform list, and they can keep him on there. They can keep him on there. But all I'm saying is, are you saying there's a chance? You know what it's like? It's like you trying to talk to a young lady or a young man, and they don't just totally tell you to get out of their face. They say something like, boy, leave me alone. Girl, leave me alone. And be like, in the back of your mind, you saying, no, there's a chance though. And then you keep bothering, they keep telling you get out of their face, less and less and less and less. All I'm saying is Tank wasn't put on that list to be out for the entire year. He was put on the physically unable to perform list. Who else is on that list? The Nico Autry is on that list. I forgot. I don't have it pulled up, and I don't have my other phone, and I'm using this phone to do TikTok. But you telling me there's a chance? Are you telling me that there may be a chance that we could see? Oh, thanks, Texas Tangent. Kurt Hennish is on that list. Hennish, Danico Autry, and Tank Dell. Are you telling me there's a chance that maybe we could see Tank Dell? Because if you wasn't going to see him, wouldn't they have just put him on the injured reserve? If he'd have been put on the injured reserve list, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. And then you can say, well, Tank is out for the year. Is there a chance that we could see Tank Dell this season? Now, with that being said, right? With that being said, I'm not rushing him. From the Houston Texans, I'm not rushing him to come back. I'm not saying Tank Dell should come back in week 8. If Tank Dell isn't ready in week 8, Then you don't play him in week 8. You don't rush him. The only way Tank should see the field this season is if they sustain injuries at the wide receiver position, or without a shadow of a doubt, you know that Tank Dell is fully healthy and ready to go. I see you, TikTok family. I gotta get, you know what? I gotta give me a bigger thing so I can talk to you all too. Uh, who do you think we will see more of in the slot position by the end of the season? Noel or Kirk? Who asked me that? I can't see. Zach. I'm gonna answer that real quickly. Both. Oh, look, yes. I think that those two young men are going to be playing equal amount of time. I could also see a scenario. I could also see a scenario in Nick Caley's system where you have Nico and either Xavier Hutchinson or Jaden Higgins on the outside and Noel and Kirk on the inside. That is by far one of the most dangerous lineups I think that they could put out on the field, especially since they only carried 2 tight ends. And so now you got those, you got them out there. So that's 4, that's 9, that's 10, that's 11. So check this out. Side note. Imagine a world where you got Nico Collins and Jalen Noel on the same side. Then on the opposite side, you got either Xavier Hutchinson or Jaden Higgins. And then you have Christian Kirk on the inside. And then you have Woody Marks in the backfield. That's 5 passing options. That's 5 passing options for quarterback CJ Stroud. 5 of them. Hey, Larry talking about, saw your ass better get you some readers. All that squinting, bro, gonna give you a headache. No, that's because I got the phone right here. Like I can see, like I can read it, but we'll talk about that later, Larry. Larry, I had a conversation about Elmer Bennett today. Only you and I can know what I'm talking about. We'll talk about that offline. I digress. Could we see Tank Dell this season? The Houston Texans are kind of saying maybe, maybe not. Maybe we could. Maybe we couldn't. Who knows? Tank Dell hasn't been ruled out to play this entire season. They put him on a list to, you know what Tank Dell is? Tank Dell is in this glass, right? He's in this glass case. And it says, in case of emergency, break glass. You know what I mean by that? Tank Dell is in this glass case. And it says in big letters, in case of emergency, break glass. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. I can see Tank Dell maybe on the field by the end of the season. If y'all listen, if you said, Sarge, we got a whole case of Ozarka water right here for you, free of charge, 32 pack of Ozarka water. You get this water if you give us your prediction on your prediction and your opinion if you think Tank Dell will see the field in 2025. And you know what I would say? Yes. Yes. Barring any setback, barring any injury, barring any setback or any injury, I can see Tank Dell playing in 2025. Tay says week 13 and week 14. And don't forget, y'all, I see y'all in the chat. I'm gonna come to y'all for real, for real. Texas fan in rehab said Tank is definitely playing this year, especially if we are seated high. That's another good point. If the Texans look like they have everything that they need wrapped up early, like by what Tay said, like week 14, week 15, week 15 at the latest, there could be a Tank Dell sighting. I just feel like with him not being placed on the injured reserve, the Texans organization is telling the fans and the media, hey, in case of emergency, break glass. All right. Ha. TikTok family. This is where I got to say goodbye to you, but like I told you, I will be back. I will be back because you all have been great to me, and I will see you all. It is 10 minutes after 5 Central Standard Time. I will see you all right back here. You come right back to this TikTok live no later than 7:15. Big Sarge gonna be right here, probably with this same outfit on, because I'm poor, so I really can't afford to have a lot of clothes. But y'all already know what it is, man. I appreciate your support. Now I just gotta be able to get out of here. I'm out. All right. Let me make sure I did that the right way. Oh, I gotta do it this way. Woohoo! I gained 6 new followers. All right. We're about to take a break. But when we come back, I honestly and truly don't know what y'all want the media to do.
Hi, Laura Williams coming to you here from Easy Honda. Just want to remind you that this is my new home, and here at Easy Honda, we are here to take care of all your vehicle needs. From new vehicles to pre-owned vehicles, we've got what you are looking for. And if you're a business and you're looking for vehicles, we've got a great selection here at our dealership. For any information on getting your next vehicle here at Easy Honda, you can reach me at 281-224-3666. Remember to ask for Laura Williams. We make it easy here at Easy Honda.
Hey, welcome back. You're tuning into the Texans Happy Hour. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Thank you for all of y'all who are following me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. And thank you all who are joining me live on YouTube. Hey, look, real quickly, I think I have 613 or 14 subscribers. And let me say, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every one of y'all, man. Y'all don't know what that means to me. 600 and I don't say 614. You know what, Sarge? Look at it. You got your phone right there. Y'all give me a second. Give me 1 second. Where I'll put it over here. Let's look. I have 614 subscribers. 614 organic subscribers. Right? 614 or organic. You got to say that. Now, my goal was to get to 1,000 before the season started, but hey, look, I'm thankful for whatever I get, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So let's go ahead and hop right into this thing, right? Let's hop right into this thing. And like I said, I am going to come back to the comments. I will be back to the comments. So don't go nowhere. Keep dropping the comments. We're going to talk about that in just a second. We want to talk about that once I finish talking about what I'm about to talk about, and we'll have our interaction. Then I will be back around about 7:15. About 7:15, I'll be back to give you all another show. And that show, we're gonna talk about the 53-man roster and the 16 practice squad players. And that show is going to definitely be more interactive because we're going to go through each position. And, I want a chance to hear you all talk. Now, I know that there's been other shows who have already done a breakdown. I don't think that there's been a show that's done a breakdown of the Houston Texans 53-man roster and the practice squad that allowed you to have your voice heard about how you feel about it. Now, y'all know how we do it right here on the Texans Happy Hour. Your voice will be heard. Your voice will definitely be heard. So when I come back at 7:15, we're strictly talking about rosters. We're strictly talking about the roster heading into the first week, the first regular season game against the Los Angeles Rams. And that's going to be y'all's show. I'm just going to be moderating it, telling we're going to go through the position groups. I'm just going to be moderating it. Y'all are going to lead the show. I'm going to be putting up comments, questions, concerns. Listen, I ain't going to even lie to y'all. I ain't going to even lie. We may be on that one for a minute. Just telling you. I ain't got nowhere to be till 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 a.m. And I just got to go to the gym, me and my wife. I just got to get a haircut at 9 o'clock, and then I could take me a nap. So we got to be here a while. All right. See the title of this show? Title of this show is, what do you want the media to do? What's up, Derek? I know, right? I do like I'm ready for that pit. What do you want the media to do? So, with this whole Joe Mixon thing, right? With this whole Joe Mixon thing, for those of you all who don't know, Joe Mixon was placed on the non-football injury list on Tuesday when the rosters had to be set. Texans running back Joe Mixon was put on the non-football injury list. Now, I want y'all to this is what I want y'all to do. Write it down, put it in your phones, store it in the back of your minds, do whatever it is you have to do. But I want you to remember this. Non-football injury. Non-football injury list. Okay? I just want you to remember that. And now, with him being on the non-football injury list, remember, Joe Mixon did not practice the entire training camp. Joe Mixon did not participate in one preseason game. I came on here about a month ago and said we could see Joe Mixon the last week of training camp. Probably won't play in the preseason game, but you'll probably see him back. I said there's a 50-50 chance of that. And then when the Texans played the Carolina Panthers at NRG, I came back and I said, there's a possibility you can see him, but there's a strong possibility you may not see him until week 4. Well, and now we know it won't be until the earliest will be at week 5. I've been saying that. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Nobody knows how Joe Mixon got hurt. Like, nobody has, outside of the organization, Joe Mixon, whoever's close to him, and his agent. Those are the only people that knows what actually took place with Joe Mixon, right? Nobody else knows. Everybody else is speculating. The one thing we do know is it was a non-football injury. Nick Caserio said something on Wednesday that during his press conference that should have piqued your interest, right? That should have piqued your interest when it comes to this Joe Mixon injury. He said, we don't designate what list they go on. We send it to the league, and the league designates where they go. So when you submitted that to the league, whatever you submitted on why he won't be playing, the league looked at it and said, cool, non-football injury. So we had a chance to talk to, I didn't get a chance to talk to Nick Caserio because I was dealing with some things with my back. The media had an opportunity to speak with Nick Caserio. I did have an opportunity to be in the press conference with DeMeco Ryans. And DJ Bieneme from ESPN asked him a question. And I'm going to play that question. I'm gonna play the question from DJ, and I'm going to let you all hear the response from DeMeco Ryans, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about
it. You are big on protecting player when it comes to injuries and trying to keep things as in-house as possible. But I think with the Joe situation, it's been kind of vague a lot, and I know you're trying to protect Joe and things like that. You like to protect players. There is a flip side to where now more speculation can fester. We're kind of like the pros and cons to that, because again, like speculation festering could then lead to inaccurate thoughts and inaccurate speculation, which could and then hurt the player and hurt how he's perceived and things of that nature. So we're just kind of like that balance between being transparent, but then also not being transparent, fully transparent to where it's speculation and things of that nature.
Yeah, everything we do for when it comes to injuries, and I don't talk about the injuries much because I'm thinking about the player. Like, it's different for me. I played the game, so I can see all the news and media that circulates on everybody speculating. Well, it's not us speculating. It's everybody who's writing the stories are speculating. So it's more so of let's not speculate if you don't know the true information. And why is everybody so quick to find some story on a player when he's dealing with whatever he's dealing with? That's his personal information. I don't think anybody would speculate on, the people who are writing the story would speculate on your medical situation, because would that be fair? No, it wouldn't be. So it's all out of respect to the players and the men who put the work in the locker room to grind and what they put their bodies through to be on the fields. Like, that's always the forefront of my thoughts. Everybody really doesn't care about our players in that manner. Everybody kind of just wants to write a story. And now in the day and age where we are, with everybody wants to be first with a story, there is no repercussions for people writing inaccurate stories about players. You can just put something out and you don't really know the information. It's not true, but nothing happens. You just, take it down. So where is the old school reporting where people used to fact find, take time, really dig and find like the true accurate information on players? That doesn't happen anymore, right? Everybody wants to get, I get it. It's the microwave society. Everybody wants it quick. Everybody wants it now. And that leads to inaccurate information. Well, I would just say that's Joe's business. That's whoever's business. And don't talk about it. Let him be at peace. Let him do what he has to do to recover and get back right to play the game that he sacrificed his body, time for. All these guys do that. So the speculation, it isn't from our end. It's from everybody else who wants to be first. And I get it. It's the clickbait. I want to be first. I reported it first, so I'm the best. Well, how is that helping our players? It's not. And it's inaccurate. And what happens to you when you put out an inaccurate story? Nothing. So who's the benefit from this? Our players aren't benefiting from it. Joe isn't benefiting from it. So what are we talking about here, right? So for me, it's always about protecting our players because I truly care about our players.
Hey, D'Amico.
Okay. There's a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot. Like, there's a. Okay. Let me start off by saying this. So I've seen the reactions from this answer, right? I seen the reaction on social media, and it's 50-50. 50% of the people commenting on D'Amico's answer, 50% says that he's right and he doesn't have to disclose what's going on. The other 50% is saying, well, wait now, coach. How do you want them to not speculate and get the facts when you're not reporting to the media what the facts are? And if you go out and you get the sources and they tell you, and then it's reported, now you're in that situation to whereas you all as an organization can say we're wrong. Now, one of the things I don't do, and you all know this about me, one of the things that I have never done, I don't want to say never, but one thing that I'm not into, like I'm like 95.9%. No, let's take that back. 98.9%. 98.9% not into breaking news. Don't care. I don't care. Do I know a lot? Of course I do. Do I want to break it? No, I don't. I don't want to be in the breaking news business, y'all. I'm sorry. That's not me. They have plenty of people on the beat that is into breaking news. And you go follow those guys. Follow guys like Jonathan M. Alexander from the Houston Chronicle, DJ Bieneme from ESPN, Aaron Wilson from KPRC. Like those guys are into breaking news. I'm not. I never have been, and I'm not, because it makes you old. For me, it'll take up entirely too much of my time because it's a high that you continuously chase. I'll never forget my first piece of breaking news that I got. I was like, oh, I got it. And I said to myself, if you start down this road, you're never going to have this feeling again. And this is a feeling you're going to be chasing. And I said, no possible way. So, with that being said, right? Let's break down some of this stuff from what Coach Rhines is saying. DJ asked him about the speculation festering around not being told about injuries. Not being told about injuries and not, the team, for whatever it's worth, not being transparent about what's going on. And you have to be able to see it from a media member's point of view. Because if a media member is doing their job, they're trying to give you the most accurate information that they could give you. They don't want to speculate. Like true media members, they don't want to speculate. They want to give you the facts. If they're giving you their opinion, you can tell they will pretty much preface it, or you can tell in how they're talking that this is their opinion. But when it comes to reporting on the team, nobody wants to speculate on how Joe Mixon got hurt, which is the reason why you keep asking the questions, right? I'll never forget when I was on the Astros beat. One of the reasons why they kept asking about Kyle Tucker was because the team wasn't transparent on what was really going on with Kyle Tucker, i.e., what was going on with Yordan Alvarez. So the media members keep asking because there's no transparency. So when there's no transparency, then that's when the speculation happens. And then if you start speculating, now your integrity is called into question, and you have the organization looking at you like, well, that ain't right. Well, if I'm not getting any information, or if you want me to get them from you want me to piece together from what I'm getting from different sources, if it's not right, I get it. I don't think that it would have been wrong for them to come out and say, hey, Joe Mixon suffered a setback, and this is prior to what they did. Hey, Joe Mixon suffered a setback, and he will be put on the non-football injury list. Of course, there's going to be a follow-up to, well, can you tell us what happened? We don't want to give out Joe's information. Just know we're putting him on the non-football injury list, and he will be out for 4 games. Once we get more information, we'll tell you. What's been going on with the Joe Mixon situation is the equivalent to what went on, and I don't mean the same cases, because they're different cases. They're different cases. Joe Mixon is dealing with the injury. Deshaun Watson was dealing with something legally. But every time you'd ask about Deshaun Watson, it was, we don't have nothing else to say about it. We don't have nothing else to say about it. So when you say that, you are leaving it open to interpretation to be speculated. So with Joe Mixon, when you don't know what's going on, when you don't have any facts, when we don't have anything but Joe is working out, and he's trying to, we'll have information for you when Joe gets back, or whatever the case may be, then you leave it open to speculation. And now with that speculation comes a different narrative. And then once that narrative starts to get built, now how does that sever the relationship between media member and team? How does that sever the relationship between media member and general manager, media member and head coach? Because now the head coach and the general manager are going to look and say, this guy don't know his head from a hole in the ground. I don't know. I want to say something else, but I don't want to cuss right now. Don't know his head from a hole in the ground. Look at this guy here. What is he saying? All this inaccurate stuff. Well, you left it up to interpretation. So with that speculation festering, he says, speculate, not true. He said, speculate, not true information. The story affects the team, right? He said, when you speculate with not true information, it affects the player and it affects the team. Well, if you're not telling the media anything, what do you want? What do you want them to do? For me, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Y'all come closer to whatever apparatus you're watching me on, or whatever you're listening to me on. Come close, come close. I don't really care to know how. I don't care to know how Joe Mixon got hurt. If I found out tonight how Joe Mixon got hurt, I would just be like, man, that's messed up. I don't care to know. I'm telling you all that right now. I don't care to know. I don't. I just need to know, how long is Joe Mixon going to be out and when is he coming back? All that other stuff is for the Aaron Wilsons of the world and the Jonathan Alexanders of the world and the DJ Bieniemys of the world. That's their lane. That's not my lane. I don't go in that lane. But I can also see into those lanes, and I'm saying, if you're not giving them anything, then they go out and they find the information, which could be true, you can still downplay it as they lying. And that's what I don't understand. What I don't understand is, how come you just can't, how the information that Joe was going to be put on the physically unable to perform list probably should have been given to us a week ago, maybe a week or two. Because if you give it to us, now you control the narrative. If you come out and you say, hey, Joe's not going to be back for the first 4 weeks. Joe was rehabbing. Joe had a setback during his rehab, and now we're doing what's best for Joe. He's getting other opinions. He's getting himself worked on, but he is going to be out for at least the first 4 weeks of the season. Of course, there's going to be follow-ups. And how you answer the follow-up is, Joe is rehabbing. And once we have more information on how he's doing in the rehab, we'll let you all know. And then come back like week 2 or week 3 and give an update on how Joe Mixon is doing. That way you still control the narrative before it's time for him to come off the PUP list. So if you jump out in front of that, then you don't have to keep answering the question about Joe Mixon, his injury, and transparency. Because there's some things going on behind the scenes that don't even involve the team that people are saying, why are y'all saying that Joe Mixon got hurt away from the football field? Because he's placed on a non-football injury list. You know, look, I'm not a Rhodes Scholar. I'm not. I graduated from college. I like to think that I'm pretty smart, and I know that I have a hell of a lot of common sense. I know that non-football means non-football. It means that Joe Mixon hurt himself somewhere else. The NFL is not going to put you on a non-football injury list if you ain't dealing with something that's non-football related. So allowing the stuff to fester, allowing the speculations to be out there, as I can't speak for my colleagues. I cannot speak for my colleagues. They have their own voices. They speak for themselves. I can only speak for Big Sarge Media. Wait, where is it? Right there. Big Sarge Media. I'm the founder and CEO of Big Sarge Media. I'm only going to speak for Sarge. You leave it up to my interpretation. You leave it up to me to speculate when you're not giving me any information, when it's my job to report on the team. Because when he said that it's Joe's business, right? When he said that's Joe's business, I said to myself, but coach, Joe is a member of the Houston Texans. Joe plays football for the Houston Texans, the team that we cover. We cover the Houston Texans. We don't cover Joe who works for the Geek Squad at Best Buy. We don't cover Joe Mixon who works at Costco. We don't cover Joe Mixon who works at Kroger. We don't cover Joe Mixon, who works for a Fortune 500 company. We cover Joe Mixon, the football player. And if he suffered an injury that can affect the Houston Texans, if he suffers an injury that affects the Houston Texans, yes, it's Joe's business, but it's also our job and our responsibility to ask and keep asking. Yes, it is Joe's business. It is. But Joe is a member of the Houston Texans. And as long as Joe Mixon is a member of the Houston Texans, then the people who cover the Houston Texans are going to ask you questions about Joe Mixon. It's Joe's business. Okay, so if it's Joe's business, then if it makes it his personal business, then that means he's no longer a part of the Houston Texans. But if he's still a part of the Houston Texans, then that's Joe's business, but it's our responsibility to ask. Hey, coach, can you tell us what's going on? Can you tell us what's going on? Of course, I can't go to HEB and ask, hey, let me speak to your HR department. Let me find out what's going on with Deborah over in pharmacy. Hey, how come Deborah hasn't been at work? I don't cover HEB. I cover the Houston Texans. So while, yes, it is Joe's business, it's also the Houston Texans' business. And anything that involves the Houston Texans, if we're covering the Houston Texans, doesn't have to per se be our business, but it's our job to ask. And if we're not getting the information, cool. I ain't tripping on that. You don't give me no information. I got it. I understand. Okay, cool. Y'all want to keep this thing in-house? Cool. But when the speculations start to happen, and the worst thing is now, because I heard Coach say it, that he played the game, and that is true. But it's a whole different animal from when you played the game now, Coach. Everybody is a Texans content creator. Everybody is an NFL creator. Everybody has a YouTube channel. Everybody has a podcast. Everybody has their own blog site. Everybody has a social media account that they want to go on and keep talking about different types of things. Like, it's different now. When you played, Coach, it was still an era and a time to whereas you had to go out and have at least 3 sources and you had to go find the information. So any of the speculations that would have happened would have come from the newspaper. We're living in a digital era. We're living in a technology age, whereas every little thing that's said, every little thing that's speculated goes right online and it catches fire. So you can't stop the narrative or the speculation unless you say, hey, because we found out before, we found out on Monday. If there would have been the opportunity and the chance to find out earlier, then guess what, Coach? If you give that out early, then you also give the media an opportunity to put the narrative out there as well. Hey, look, what did I say? When that announcement came out from the Houston Texans, the first thing I did was, in my quote tweet, I said, hey, Coach said he was going to tell us. Coach told us he was going to tell us what was going on, and it's exactly what he did. And I put that thing right out. Put that thing right out. But I just don't understand what you want us to do as media members, and I don't understand what the fans, because you got a lot of fans saying, yeah, he ain't got to tell y'all nothing. Well, that's cool. If that's the case, that's cool. Well, don't be bitching, whining, crying, and complaining when you don't get stuff on from the media. Don't go on your pages and criticize media members saying that they're not this and they're not that when you said he ain't got to tell y'all nothing. All right, cool. You're right. He doesn't. Coach doesn't have to tell us a damn thing. But if that's the stance you're going to take, then don't be doing all that bitching and crying and moaning when you're not getting anything. Oh, Sarge, you're not putting out anything, or you're not getting any information, this, that, and other. You said you don't care. So if you don't care, I don't care. How about that? Coach also said, how is that helping our players? And he has a point. He does have a point, because that doesn't help the players. That does not. When you're out there speculating and when you're out there putting out information that may be half true and half not true, speculation does not help the players. But what does help is help us to help you. Help us to help the team. Hey, here's what it is. Right? Here's what it is. Joe sustained an injury in the offseason. I'm not going to tell you because, hey, look, in all actuality, like if we keeping it a buck, don't get me wrong. I understand exactly what Coach Ryans is saying from a medical standpoint. Before I got out of the military, I worked on the medical side of the house, right? I worked at Fort Belvoir Hospital. Y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know what the hell HIPAA was. When they say, people ask you about your medical history, you just start running off at the mouth. Hell, I never heard of HIPAA. So I just tell them. But when I started working on the medical side of the house, and every time I went to see a patient, I had to read off the HIPAA laws. Every time. HIPAA laws. Do you agree? HIPAA laws. Do you agree or you disagree? So when Coach says that's Joe's business and, speculating and all that doesn't help the team, from a medical standpoint, he's right. He's saying, I'm not going to violate Joe's HIPAA. I'm not going to violate Joe's HIPAA laws. I'm not. Y'all give me a second. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. Because we're going to do this the right way. Okay, HIPAA has multiple meanings, but in the United States, it most commonly refers to the Health Insurance Portable and Accountability Act. Though this is, outside the U.S., it can mean health and protection promotion. Common meanings of HIPAA. In the United States, federal law enacted in 1996 to protect sensitive patient health information from being disclosed without the patient's consent or knowledge. In 1996, the United States enacted a federal law to protect sensitive patient health information from being disclosed without the patient's consent or knowledge. It sets standard for electronic exchange, privacy, and security of health information. I just read you the meaning of the HIPAA law. EJ says, I thought HIPAA applied only to the medical personnel. Well, if Joe says that he doesn't want the injury disclosed and they disclose his medical his medical records, then they have violated it. Now, they can say, they can tell you Joe sustained an ankle injury. They can tell you Joe sustained a lower leg injury. They don't have to give you the diagnosis. They don't have to give you the diagnosis. So, with that being said, when they put Joe on, hold on, because y'all remember no, that's not what I'm looking for. Hold on. Tell my wife. Okay, be safe. Y'all remember? Where is it at? Let me find it. Where is it at? DJ sent it to me this morning because I wanted to make sure I had it for my story. There we go. Y'all remember this? Come on, man. Y'all give me 1 second, y'all. Remember when Texans Joe Mixon to start training camp on non-football injury list to start camp? Houston Texans running back Joe Mixon is starting training camp on the non-football injury list. Mixon, a Pro Bowl last season, his first year with the Texans, did not practice, during OTAs and minicamp because of an ankle injury. The ankle hasn't healed to the point where Mixon can fully go. The non-football injury designation indicates that Mixon suffered the injury outside of the Texans facility. That's according to DJ BNMA from ESPN. That was when we started training camp. That was when OTAs, minicamp, and that's when we started training camp. When we started training camp, he was on the non-football injury list. So now you have that whole time frame. And as you're getting closer to the end of training camp, I felt like, hey, what's going on with Joe Mixon? And from a team standpoint, I felt like you should start saying, hey, Joe has sustained a setback. And now let the media work for you and tell the narrative. So, like I said, I understand. I see it both ways. I see it from Coach DeMeco Ryans' side. I also see it from that side, but I also see it from the media side. And the last thing I'll say about this, pertaining to that video, that answer from Coach Ryans. He has a valid point when he says everybody wants to be first. You all have heard me say this on numerous occasions. I've told you all this a number of times. I'd rather be factual than first. I'd rather be factual than first. In this day and age in which we live in, a lot of times people don't remember who put it out first. They just remember where they seen it first. So my colleagues could have put something out, and then I come out and put it out, and people may not have seen that. The first time they see it is on my social media. They'll be like, oh, this is what's going on. In the day and age in which we live now, it doesn't always pay to be first. It pays to be factual. So, with that being said, I understand where he's coming from with that. And he mentioned, I thought he was about to say my favorite saying that I came up with. It sounded like he was going down that road, but he didn't when he talked about it's like a microwave. And I tell you all the time, we live in a microwave society, right? We live in a microwave society. But I'm from an oven society. I'm from an oven stovetop society. Microwave, air fryer society, George Foreman grill society, griddle society. You want it instantly. Throw that thing in the microwave, boom, 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 boom. Let me get it. I come from a day and age where, hey, you already know you ain't gonna eat. Ain't no throwing nothing in the microwave. No, big mama cooking, mama cooking. You're gonna wait on that food. I don't care how long it takes to get prepared. You're going to wait to eat. There's no such thing as throwing it in the microwave, getting it like that. I'm from an oven society. I can wait. Hey, I ain't gotta have a microwave. I want my food fully cooked anyway, so I can wait. So I thought that he was about to say we live in a microwave society. We live in a microwave society, and I come from an oven society. That's me. I come from the oven. I don't come from the microwave. That's why I don't care about being first. That's why Sarge doesn't care about being first. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I am first with it. I'd be like, oh, wow. All right. Moving right along. So with that being said, right, as I digress, I don't know what it's like. It's six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Let me find out you eat out here eating well done steaks. Look, I like my steak well done. Well, first of all, I don't really like steak, but when I do, I don't. Reverend Brooks, out of respect for you, I didn't say what I was about to say about pink meat. So I'm just going. So I can see it, right? It's six in one hand, half a dozen in the other, right? I can see where Coach Ryans is coming from. Don't get me wrong. I see his point. But I also see it from the media side too. And until we're able to meet in the middle and come up with a solution on how to do these things, it's going to be constant butting of heads. It's going to be constant butting of heads of between the team and the media and the team and the media. Now, I asked Coach about, okay, so Joe ain't practiced in a long time. Joe hasn't had any physical contact on the field since the Texans lost in the divisional round back in January to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. He won't be back until the earliest he can come back is October 5th. So we're looking at almost 7.5, 8 months if he's even able to come back in week 5. Because I say this, even if he is healthy enough to come back in week 5, I'm not bringing him back against Baltimore. Are you crazy? Hell no, I'm not bringing him back against Baltimore. No. We got a bye week 6. He can come back in week 7. I don't even know who they play in week 7, but he can come back in week 7. But this is what I asked Coach about Joe coming back and working himself back into football shape, but also about playing in that Nick Caley offensive system. Uh-oh. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. Okay, I don't know what's going on, y'all. Don't worry about it. Y'all give me a second. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull it back up. Mixon misses so much time as far as training camp and preseason is concerned, and now we know that he'll miss a minimum of 4 games. How is he going to be able to come back and fit into this new offensive system that you all have, especially trying to work himself back into game shape?
For Joe's situation, Sarge, we just take it one day at a time. And, Joe has played a lot of football. Whenever that time comes for Joe to be back and get back in the fold, it won't be anything revolutionary that he hasn't seen before, he hasn't done from the football perspective. Joe's an outstanding football player, so whenever that time comes, I feel like he'll have a very easy transition back to football.
Question. It's just a question. Y'all can answer it. Yeah, y'all can answer it however you want to answer it. You can hold the answer till we do the second round. We're gonna do another round of happy hour. Like Sarge bought the first round, y'all gonna buy the second round. So say he comes back week 7, right? And what y'all said, Seattle is the Seattle is week 7. So what if the Texans go into the bye week 4-1? Let's just say they go into the bye week 4-1. Let's just say the only loss is to the Baltimore Ravens, right? Say they go into the bye week 4-1. Coming out of the bye week, do you just automatically put Joe Mixon back in the game? Put him back in the lineup, in the starting lineup? Now, don't get me wrong. Joe Mixon is a hell of a running back. Joe Mixon is a hell of a running back. And he's a Pro Bowler last season. He had 1,016 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns. He runs hard. He runs smooth. But if whatever got you to 4-1, then you come back, do you just automatically throw Joe in the game? Or do you let him build up to it? Do you let him get some game reps and go on until he's really ready and able to start again? Because he may be ready to start coming out of the gate. He may be ready to start right off the rip. But you don't want another Shaq Mason scenario where Shaq Mason been hurt and you come back and you throw him back into the start lineup in the divisional round and he looks terrible. Side note, hey man, y'all pray for Shaq Mason. I just seen he got arrested for a lot of charges. So I don't know if he's guilty or not. I just know he got arrested. I don't know. I don't have anything else, but I know that he went to jail according to TMZ. And so y'all pray for him. I digress. Do you put Joe in there? I'm not saying you don't. I'm also not saying you do. That's why I asked Coach the question. I ain't got the answers. Coach does. I don't have the answers. But I'm just saying, if you're coming out of the bye week and you're 2-3, then yes, because you're looking for a spark. You're definitely looking for a spark. If you're coming out 3-2, I say you still be a little hesitant. But if you're 4-1, do you really want to mess with that chemistry? But by the same token, a fresh Joe Mixon, because Joe Mixon got a lot of carries on his body. He's been hit a lot of times. But Joe Mixon, a fresh Joe Mixon, sheesh. A fresh Joe Mixon? And what we've seen in that Nick Caley offense just this much? Woo! It could be different. All right. Let me jump into some of these comments right quick. Let me see what we got going on. Queena, what's going on? What's that? Retreat Hell 123. What's going on? Queena said D'Amico was on some mind your business type ish today. What's up, Texas Tangents? I've had enough of the same old. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Got one coming about Joe Mixon here pretty soon. I don't know how Josue. I don't know if that's Jose. I don't know. I don't want to mess it up. Elbert, what's going on? Texans fan 1990 says, hey man, that jersey right there was given to us last season. So the media members got so that's for 2024 for the new rollout and all that. And every media member has a name on the back of it. See ya, Boble. What's going on? J Rock. Reverend Brooks. Tay. I appreciate this, Tay. I appreciate this. Your experience have allowed you to touch other spirits on your platform. Let's communicate here with an external family. Amen. Appreciate that. Hey, I got this from. Hey, wait till you see this other one I'm about to get, Texas fan. Ooh, I like this hat though. All right. Texas Tank say thanks for pointing that out because Tank was getting that touchdown. We talk about Tank Dell catching that pass. Of course. Of course. When Brooks said a relatively healthy Texans team this season is top 3 in the AFC easy. I believe that too. What up, D'Angelo? What up, Doc? DQ? What's going on? Larry and Stafford. Larry says, hell yeah, Tank playing. Hey, if you want to see what that 5 wide receiver set looks like with CJ, go look at the OSU versus Michigan game and OSU versus Chick. Oh, hold on, Larry. I got to write that down. So his last year there, is that what he talking? Somebody let me know. Is he talking about the CJ's last year there? And this is in reference to me saying that if you got Nico Collins on the left side, you got Nico Collins and Noel on one side, and you got either Xavier Hutchinson and Jaden Higgins on the other with Kirk, and then you got Woody Marks in the backfield. It's a dangerous combination. King Colby, what's going on? Tank's situation could be the opposite of Christian Harris last year, the positive side of D'Amico's injury strategy. Yeah. Just like they're doing with Mixon playing the cards close to the chest, but showing that little joker. Larry says, I've said for the longest because Tank's size sped up his rehab because he is not 240-pound running back or 330-pound lineman. My girl Jackie over at Herman Ironman Lab in the medical center had my head going. What's up, EJ? CFL St. John, what's going on? Deverick, what's good? All right. Am I understanding the reports that Mixon was injured outside of football on his own away from football? Also heard it mentioned that he got some type of external procedure done. So am I understanding reports that yes, and I heard he had some type of experimental procedure done. Yes. Yes and yes, EJ. I don't know, DQ. I don't know if Mixon will be fine by week 5. Or look, you said or after that. He said, Brandon, what's up? Mixon hurt his foot kicking ass. Tay says Chubb, Dare, and Woody gonna eat. Hopefully, this offensive scheme can be what brings out rookie Damian Pierce and he can ball out. Yep. Bell out of Trey, baby. What's going on? Tay says D'Amico wants these reporters to make oven baked chicken while the reporters themselves are trying to use that 1100-watt microwave. JJ Sugar, if you're still in the chat, can you tell me? I only seen a screenshot. Could you tell me what was going on as far as the comments was concerned during D'Amico's during D'Amico's press conference that was being streamed on YouTube? I just seen a screenshot, but I don't know. I seen your name in it, and I was like, I wonder what's going on. I'm glad you're here. You said, yeah, it's been all speculation so far, and I heard one that actually seems to be pretty plausible for the situation. Not going to say it, though, because if true, then I can see it being personal. Okay. DQ says, I'd be hating to see, to assume the worst about a player. Yeah, this is what I was going to say. Thank you, Tay. I appreciate that. I think for a lot of media members and fans, that wouldn't be enough. Tell me what that means, King Cole, because he just said curiosity killed a cat. I agree some of them will keep digging. JJ Sugar says, exactly. If you don't know when he could be back, then say that. Saying day by day as is a minor injury is the issue. Yeah. It's no need to keep digging if there's nothing to report. They can only give updates and run with that when the info is reported. Front runner, what's up, front runner? Hopefully, one of the young guys will step up, and this won't be a problem. Hell, it could be Woody Marks. I said this to one of my colleagues today. I said, if they get word that Joe Mixon is going to be out for a minute, Woody Marks could be starting by week 7. And you use Chubb and Damian Pierce and Dare if he's going to have him on the active that week as power backs. Woody Marks is the best combination. Woody Marks is the best combination of running back and receiving back that they have. He's getting better at pass protection, but there's going to be a lot more thrown at him once the season starts. And so we will see. But if they're going to use that type of package, Woody Marks is the one that's going to be in there. But he was placed on a non-football injury list, so it's not so it's not football. That's Joe's business. Okay. I get it, King Kobe. And so semantically speaking, you're almost right. But placed on the non-football injury list, yet he's still part of the Texans active roster. So while it is his business, he's still a member of the Houston Texans. True, it's only so much you can disclose about your employee. Black Eighth Element. So Joe had a non-football injury that void stipulations in his contract. He is pissed and never showed up for camp. HIPAA applies to anything medical related, whether you went for a stub toe or you went for a brain aneurysm. Anyone privy to that information is to keep it strictly on a need-to-know basis. And like I said, I don't need to know how it happened. I don't care. Front runner said it happens. I wish Joe the best, but next man up. Tay said exactly. Next man up mentality is needed to be in full effect. What's up, J Mac? Dever says a better way of Coach Ryan answering is there will be a setback when we get. Yeah. I can definitely wait until my food and up for sure. He should have said there will be a setback to his return. We'll get back to you when we get more information. What's up? 119 dozen 55 sweet. If I'm GM coming into roster cut downs claims, I don't give 4 weeks on Joe before that because that might impact me claiming or trading for a running back. Okay, let's stick right there for a second. Hello, wife. You hungry? I'm gonna get off here in a minute because I'm gonna come back on while you're watching the Aces game. Wait, they play at 6:30? I thought they played at 7. Jesus. I gotta hurry up because I gotta make her dinner. Okay, if I'm GM coming into roster cuts, I don't give 4 weeks on Joe before that because that might impact me claiming or trading for a running back. But your running back room is already deep. Your running back room is already deep, and then you brought back Jawar Jordan on the practice squad. And if you're going to trade for a running back, you're just going to trade for a running back anyway. If you're going to trade for a running back, you're going to trade for a running back. Claiming a running back off the waiver wire, who are you claiming? If he's being cut by another team, that's what you want? So I don't agree with this. I don't. And it's okay. I can respectfully disagree. If I'm D'Amico, my job is to cover up my guys. It's up to Joe to tell the media he was doing non-football activity and caught a left high ankle. Then I can talk about its complications. Like I said, Sarge doesn't care how he got hurt. I don't care. I honestly and truly do not care. Unless it was malicious, salacious, or unlawful. Other than that, I do not care. What I care about is how long he's going to be out. What is his progress? What is the rehab? If he had a setback, then that's something I would like to know. How ready was he to come back before he had a setback? When you say he had a setback, you're not telling me what happened. You're saying he had a setback. When Christian Harris was hurt, they was giving us updates, but they also threw in there a time or two that he had a setback. Damian Pierce had a setback. So if he had a setback, then that's all I need to know. I don't care about how he did it. I don't. That's not for me. That's for my colleagues. My colleagues, that's for them. That ain't for me. So I honestly and truly don't care how he got hurt unless it's salacious, malicious, or unlawful. That's so in all honesty, that's a military thing though. If I'm media, I might speculate or better yet investigate. I'm calling Joe's cousin, sue his trainer, his college position coach, his wife's best friend, etc. Yeah, I seen that. And they had like a burglary charge in there too. 100% Joe Mixon is better than 50%. Yep. Look, bro, I'm not squinting. That's just this hat. This hat makes me look like I'm squinting, and I'm not. Now, when that phone is up here, I'm squinting. But when I'm reading this computer big enough for me to see. Showtime! Showtime! Big Sarge, I had a text winning 14 games. And Woody Morris, Showtime. We had this conversation before, right? You gotta let me know what you've been drinking and smoking before you put out a take. Before you put out a take, you gotta let me know what you own. Like, let me know what you own. Because 14 games and Woody marks 1,000 yards. Shit. Showtime, if that happens, I'm gonna buy you a bottle myself of McCormick Gin. What's up, Rob? What's up, sir? How do you think British Brooks will be utilized? Mostly special teams. Mostly special teams. I don't think he will get like any carries, but I did ask him how does he fit in Nick Caley's system. So we keeping Cam or we trade him? I see Tate got the starting job. It's a good question. I also asked Coach about the offensive line today, so we're gonna talk about that. Vastly improving. Tank gonna be on the field before. Put that apron on and put those ribs and biscuit in there. Thank you, Jay. People going back and forth about whether the team should be transparent or not, and how much should be revealed. I was on the transparency side to this. Okay, I appreciate that. Senior Boble says I wouldn't expect anything different from Miko, especially if Joe is requesting silence. I get that part. So like I said, I understand, but that also leaves the door open for the media to speculate and put out whatever they want. If they hear something, right? If you hear something from somebody in Joe's camp on how, and you speculate on it, then it's their job to come back and say whether you're right or wrong. So now, if whether it's right or wrong, that's doing the job. So let me say this. One of the reasons why my colleagues, I know at least 2 of them, don't want to speculate because they don't want to do a disservice to Joe Mixon. And they don't want to ruin their reputation. So that's why trying to get down to the bottom of what exactly is going on. Me and JJ had an agreement to disagree on the Texans chat earlier. I hope that wasn't it. Woody was killing it on Saturday, but that was against people that ain't even on the team today. What happens with Nick Chubb? Because he does, but as of right now, Nick Chubb is. If Mixon had experimental procedure, then it would be tightrope. But I'm guessing the experimental was the treatment to reduce scar tissue, accelerate healing. I mean, that's just me taking the situation lightly. I trust in D'Amico and Nick's vest to do right by the team and players. They know we want a Super Bowl trophy bad here. This is interesting. Him and Nick Chubb would have split the carries, is what you're saying? Well, that's a great time to keep that. Don't forget to open the bar for sure. Oh, hell no, Showtime. I am not no cut water for Sarge. No. Save me a plate. I'll be waiting for it. Then they brought it. They brought him back. They brought him back, and we traded Mechie for him. He's on the practice squad, J Mac. All right, y'all. Y'all heard the wifey. I gotta go and make this dinner, but I'm gonna be back. Y'all know I told y'all when I come back, we're gonna talk about the 53-man roster and the practice squad. So y'all be ready because we're going to come back and we're going to have we're going to do some roster talking. All right, we're going to talk some roster and what y'all think about it. Make sure you follow me on the app, formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast. All one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And go read my articles, www.bigsargemedia.com. Listen, I'm a one-stop shop, baby. That's why I'm the best. Don't let these other people fool y'all. Ain't nobody out there better than me. Not when it comes to this. Hell no. I'm a one-stop shop. You get everything with me. Everything. I write articles. I do podcasts. I do live shows. I give you content on a consistent basis. I'm just saying. Ain't nobody out there better than me. I don't want to sing that because then y'all will be saying, no Diddy. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Big Sarge.